got more stuff I need to point out that I think people should be aware of and likely aren't. Did you know that Netanyahu's family is from Russia? Netanyahu's family is from Russia. He is technically Russian. My name is Waffles, and I'm a political commentator. And I'm expressing my thoughts and my opinions based on my observations, using my First Amendment right to freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Alright, so let's look at his family, His grandparents were from Russia. This is Russia. What's up with this Poland stuff? Well, the family was Russian. And then they chose to run over to Poland. Well, this is the maternal side. So the woman of his grandparents was in Poland, but born in Russia, it looks like. I don't know. I would like, why does it say Lithuania/Poland? That makes like no sense. But anyways, his grandpa was Russian. And then they're like in Poland, where the name Netanyahu, a Jewish name, was installed. Because before the name Netanyahu, during his parents, his father adopted that name in Poland. That's not even the family's actual last name. The actual last name is Milikowski. If they did not change their names, Benjamin Netanyahu's last name would be Milikowski. It would be Benjamin Milikowski. He is Russian in descent. And one of the Milikowskis is just recently died in the United States. He was in New York with, likely within proximity to Donald Trump. I just wanted to point that out. So then what could have happened here? If there's any chance, and I'm just speculating and I'm expressing my thoughts and my opinions based on my observations. I'm not stating that these things are facts. I'm just expressing my opinion. And I have a right to do that as an American. The Okhrana was the Russian police at the time, and they hated dissent. They hated people that were standing up for their rights, and they did everything they could to quash it. The Russian Okhrana was very similar to the modern day ICE that we are seeing being deployed in the United States. The Okhrana was an intelligence agency from Russia, and they liked to move into other countries. They hated left-wing politics, and they stationed themselves in Poland. Now, what happened in Poland that could involve the Russians? It was the labor movement, the Jewish labor movement, and you got to remember, Russia does not like NATO, does not like seeing a human rights world order established. And they have done everything they can to seek to halt that and prevent that and dismantle that. And so then, I'm just speculating, but it does not look to me like Netanyahu, Benjamin Milikowski, Benjamin Netanyahu, Benjamin Milikowski is Jewish. And the reason why I don't think he's Jewish is because he's hanging out with Donald Trump, who is hanging out with people who are doing the weird thing with the hand from the chest and the little salute thing. We all know what that is. So why would a Jewish person hang out with Nazis? That doesn't make any sense, first of all. So if they spent multiple generations trying to install a sleeper agent into Israel, and I'm just speculating, I'm just expressing my opinion. This is a hypothetical situation. if this is what happened, then they didn't do a good job, because Netanyahu's behavior is not what I would expect a Jewish person to do. So he's not doing a good job at maintaining cover, in my opinion. And I think it's amazing how people will allow things to go to such extremes and not even look at some of the basic facts when it comes to dealing with the motherfuckers. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Netanyahu. I mean, Netanyahu and Vladimir Putin are both wanted by the ICC. Donald Trump's hanging out with them. I think he should be wanted by the ICC. That's just my opinion. You know, if this is what's going on, then if there's any chance that Netanyahu was groomed his whole life, his father, if I'm looking at the right person here, let me go to the bottom of this article. This is on my Substack. I have 2 articles pointing out 2 individuals. The other one is his cousin, I believe, is Nathan Milikowski, the other Russian family member. That one was posted in the United States. There's a current living family member in Connecticut. Benzion Netanyahu, born Benzion Milikowski. He's the one that changed his name. That is Benjamin Netanyahu, Benjamin Milikowski. Benjamin Netanyahu's father was a historian, editor, and Zionist activist. My opinion is that Zionism is separate from the Jewish religion and is different than being Jewish. So this is somebody that is, in my opinion, carrying hateful ideologies. And he traveled and preached, essentially, some bullshit. So I'm just looking at the time period and what was going on, and this is at the beginning of World War II, if I'm not mistaken. And what it looks like to me, that Benjamin Netanyahu's father may have been involved in spy operations. Now, he was born in Poland. So then that would mean it would be his paternal grandfather that may have gotten ushered into the spy agency. And this is just a hypothetical. I'm not saying that this happened, but if Netanyahu is a Russian sleeper agent, then it would have either been his paternal grandfather or maternal grandfather, but most likely paternal, Nathan Milikowski, who was ushered into the spy agency, who then had Benzion Netanyahu, who was mobilized to intercept and invade the Jewish labor movement in Poland, and then they moved to Israel. And I'm just speculating on what I'm seeing here, but based on Netanyahu's Benjamin Netanyahu's lineage, it certainly appears to me that Benjamin Netanyahu is Russian in descent.